Okay, so this is a new horse that's come in, Corazon. He's very pretty. He likes to smell poop. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little evaluation here. So first watch him walk, or watch him pace and canter, as I call it. Okay, so we can tell right away he's a little on the pacey side, but he can canter. She taught him to canter, so that was great. And what we want to see though is him walk, but the poles are out here so he's not trippy. He cantered right over those and didn't have a problem. Okay, so I might have to, I'm going to run him around for a little bit and then I'll turn you back on for the moment. So right away we know he's on the pacey side. So far he hasn't trotted at all. I want you to watch him walk, watch his front hoof print and see how far he steps over that front hoof print with his back foot. So he does step over it. It's anywhere from 6 inches to a foot at times, depending on what he's doing. But so that means he has overreach. So that means this is a horse that we could teach to have a running walk. Remember, the difference between a running walk and a rack is the rack has no overreach. Okay? And then there's different speeds of the rack, so people get confused because horses that can do a running walk, many of them can also do a rack in time. But we want to teach him correctly. So first we're seeing, will he have a nice flat walk and a running walk? Yes, he should. We just got to show him the right way and how to use his body correctly. But we see he has enough overreach with his hind legs. And like right there, before he started going downhill, he had a nice head shaking walk. But he reverts to, even like right now, he's kind of step pacing. So this is what we're trying to get is the walk, but we're going to try to get him, we're going to try to get him to do that faster. So, if you have a Tennessee walking horse and you're trying to figure out what gaits is it going to be able to do, if it does not have overreach, it's not going to have much of a running walk. It might have more of a racking gait or a step pace. So this horse, we know we can get it, but when he's free and loose, he doesn't know how to use his body, so he just naturally starts either step pacing or pacing. So see his head up? And so getting that under gait would be easy because that's what he naturally does. But he does have the talent to do a lot more than that. Okay. So let's see what he does the other way, because sometimes they'll trot one direction and they won't trot another. Okay, so he's walking and he's nice and relaxed. Watch his legs. So that's what we have to get. Remember, it's called a flat walk and a running walk. So it's a walking gait. It's 4 beats. And they don't need to overstride for the flat walk. Many horses can flat walk, but they do need to overstride for the running walk. So we want to teach him how to use his body correctly, so he's not just step pacing or pacing all the time. Okay? And usually once you teach them how to do it, then sometimes when you lunge them as well, they'll just start doing it loose, because you're using different muscles, and then as they get stronger, then a lot of the times they'll just start gaiting out there instead of doing all the pacing and the canter. But not all, just depends on the horse. And let's see if you can hear this. So when he's flat walking, which should be a little faster than that, not this. Hear that? That's a different gait. So that's more like a step pace. Could be a wreck. It's hard for me to videotape and see. There we go. That's more towards a running walk, but then he immediately changes it. But it's going to sound different. You're going to hear a clear 4 beats when they're doing it correctly. Okay, I'm going to work the new horse. What I want you to do is see the difference between me running him around and him just kind of throwing his legs around and just doing the easiest thing versus me I'm just going to work him on his little lead line so I can show you how he walks. Because when he's running loose, he doesn't choose to walk. He's either pacing, step pacing, or cantering. And he real easy can just throw his legs around. So that's what he's doing. He's not really engaging and using himself, which is usually more what we want for riding. So they get stronger and they get a stronger back and a stronger hind quarter so they can carry us better. It's different if they're just running loose. They don't have anybody on their back, so it really doesn't matter. So when they're running loose, just remember you can't control so much what they do. So if they gait, pace, trot, that's whatever they do. They're going to do it all day long when they're loose, so you might as well let them do it. But when they're on the line, then you have some control to their head so you can ask them to slow down. But the owner did teach him a lot of stuff, so I think she did a good job. You're not doing a trick or anything. So I don't know if he knows how to lunge though. Oops. See, we all make mistakes. I just let go of the rope. Because I'm not so used to having a short rope. But see, he kind of messes around. So I'm going to slow him down. Normally I make a bigger circle, but I just want you to see. So now he's got like a foot over reach. So this is going to be about the speed of his flat walk, but he's kind of a little lanky. Lanky and swingy, so we'd like to collect him a little bit and get him to use himself better, because that will also help his stifles, his hind quarter, and his back. So I'm going to see if he can walk a little faster. And he needs a little guidance. He's like, I'm not used to doing this. Sorry. He's like, you get different signals at my mouth. Go out. So they can all get confused in the beginning because we all do things a little differently. So I can tell he's over flexible. He can look one way, walk another. And he's just a little bit, lazy about using himself. He's like, this is easy. Why would I do anything else? But remember, they got to have the walk first. And then over time, if you do this right, you just speed them up. And that's how you get your flat walk and your running walk. But if you just run them fast, then they start either two-beating, doing a pace or a trot, or they start doing more of a step pace. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, the rhythm is more 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's a smooth gait, but he's not using himself. So I think I'm going to do some lunge work with him because he could use that to help him. And I can see a lot more what he's doing versus having him carry me right away when he's not so sure himself what to do. And then the other thing I can see, he's cutting way in this direction. So to the right, he's a little weaker in that right stifle. Doesn't mean anything's wrong with him. Most of us trail ride now, people do arena work, or sometimes we do it more one direction than the other. So a lot of times the right side is weak. But see, he started to change his gait there, and I told him no. But you just keep going. There we go. So he thinks it's, see how he keeps speeding up? He's like, it's much easier to do this. But so we have to say, no, I don't want you to do that. I just want you to walk. So I already round pended and ran him around, so I don't want him to go fast. I'm trying to work his walk, and I can also see that when he goes sideways, he's got to screw around, but when he goes sideways and turns that head, it helps him step under himself even more. And it helps to separate his legs. So I already know from just seeing him on the ground that that's going to help. Okay, let's see, back up. Is that okay? And I want to see him back up the hill because I just want to kind of look at his stifles. Okay. So I want to see do stifles lock up or anything like that, because some of the ones with that overreach, their stifles can lock up. And especially if they're not working correctly or using themselves, they don't use the muscles around their stifles. Their stifle is here in their groin area. It's like our kneecap, so their thigh muscles, which are around it, that's going to help it get better or get worse if they don't use their muscles. So when he's running around his pacing and step pacing, if you go back and look at the beginning part of this video, you'll see he's just kind of swinging his legs. So it's not like he's picking his feet up and planting them down, and that's what he does at the walk. So we want him to pick his foot up, plant it down. We don't want him to go like this, okay? Because that's not really using a lot of muscles. You know, they invert their back, they pick their head up, and they swing the legs, and they can do it all day. It's really easy. So we're trying to build his muscles up so he can carry us better. It'll work his hind quarter, make him a stronger horse, and then it'll also help if he, you know, is going to have stifle problems in the future. Building his muscles up around that will make a huge difference. So overall, I think a very nice horse. I think he's mostly been step pacing when they've been riding him. So we're going to see how much we can improve him. I want to point a couple things out. So right here, looks like he's kicked himself in the past, and he has it on the other leg too. So this is his left front leg. See this? Right there? That means he's kicking himself when he's moving. And then I'll look and see how he's moving. So this could be from the back foot or the front foot, but it's more likely the front foot that he's interfering, and you'd want to put splinter ankle boots on so he doesn't kick himself. Because otherwise, you know, he'll be fine now, but in, you know, 5 years, he might have problems from kicking himself every day. So this is his right side. So this is called a tail pull, which you might have seen in one of my videos. So if I pull on him, I can pull him off his feet pretty easily. And the lateral ones, you can usually do that. But when, oh, see, I did it again. But see, the right is much weaker. Now if I go around and do it on the left side, see, he moves, but not as much. So that goes along with what I was saying in the round pen. I made another video, which I'll send to you, is that he's weaker on his right side around his stifles, and that's just because he's pacing and swinging his legs. It's always hard to do while I'm walking. So he toes out, which means both his feet stick out, and then as he walks, you see, it's hard for me to do and not smack into anything, but he's interfering. So he's kicking himself with his front feet because he's toeing out, and I almost just fell on my face. So see how close his legs come together? So I'll send you one on interfering too. And then improve his manners a little bit. He's pretty good, but he tests, and that's normal. They all test. So you just got to make sure we stay after him. And then he's actually smart. He's like, yes ma'am, okay. I really didn't do that much before I turned the camera on. And now he's staying out of my space and being very good. But you want to try to do that from the beginning with all the horses. As they get bigger, it gets much harder. So if you do it when they're younger, then they won't test you so much as they get older. See how he's standing there now? But as they get older and bigger, it's much harder if you don't create boundaries. And remember, they're 1,000 pounds, so you want to create boundaries, keep yourself safe, and also makes your horse a better horse. The better the horse, the better its manners, the more people that will want to buy it if something ever happened to you or you had to sell your horse for some reason. So, you know, so I always talk to people about manners, and they go, well, I'm going to keep them forever. And I go, yeah, I hear that over and over again. And then these people call me 5 years down the road, they got to sell the horse because they're getting divorced. You know, we have fires here, all this stuff happens. So just remember, make your horse a better horse, give it good manners, stay on its case, and don't let them get away with things.